UN's nuclear watchdog warns on Ukraine plant, Russia shells dozens of cities. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency raised grave subject about shelling at a nuclear energy plant in Ukraine, as its military mentioned Russian forces had attacked dozens of frontline cities. Since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24 in what President Vladimir Putin termed a unique military operation, the battle has settled right into a war of attrition fought in large part in Ukraine's east and south. But the fighting over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in the south, captured by using Russian forces inside the establishing degree of the battle but nevertheless run via Ukrainian technicians, has raised the possibility of a much wider catastrophe. I'm extraordinarily concerned via the shelling the previous day at Europe's biggest nuclear power plant, which underlines the very actual risk of a nuclear catastrophe, IAEA Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi said in a declaration. Both sides have accused every different of undertaking nuclear terrorism. Ukraine's country nuclear power business enterprise Energodom blamed Russia for the damage, while Russia's defense ministry accused Ukrainian forces of shelling the plant. The United States has accused Russia of the usage of it as a nuclear pretext, even as Russia's defense ministry mentioned damage to the plant had only been averted thanks to the skillful, able and effective movements of its gadgets. Grossi, who leads the United Nations nuclear watchdog, urged all facets to work out the utmost restraint. Shells hit a high-voltage power line on Friday at the facility, prompting its operators to disconnect a reactor in spite of no radioactive leak being detected. While the world's attention was focused at the nuclear plant, the conflict turned into grinding on inside the east and south. Russia is attempting to advantage manage of the largely Russian-speaking Donbass area in the east, produced from Luhansk and Donetsk provinces, where pro-Moscow separatists seized territory after the Kremlin annexed Crimea to the south in 2014. Ukraine's military mentioned late on Saturday that Russian forces had shelled dozens of frontline towns and have been looking to assault in 6 extraordinary areas in the Donetsk location, all of which didn't benefit any territory and have been held lower back by means of Ukrainian forces. Could not affirm both facets assertions approximately battlefield trends. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Saturday mentioned that during the last week its forces had finished effective results in destroying Russia's logistics components and rear bases. Every strike at the enemy's ammunition depots, on their command posts, and on accumulations of Russian device saves the lives of anyone, the lives of Ukrainian military and civilians, he stated in a late-night video cope with grain exports. British Army intelligence stated earlier that Russian forces had been nearly actually amassing in the south, expecting a counteroffensive or in coaching for an assault, and the war was approximately to go into a new segment, with most fighting shifting to a nearly 350 kilometers (217-mile) front from close to Zaporizhzhia to Kherson, parallel to the Dnieper River. Ukraine's forces had been that specialize in hitting bridges, ammunition depots, and rail hyperlinks with growing frequency in its southern areas, along with the strategically vital railroad spur that hyperlinks Kherson to Russian-occupied Crimea, it stated. In a tremendous development, Ukraine is beginning to resume grain exports, easing fears of a worldwide food crisis, in an attempt overseen by using a joint coordination center in Istanbul wherein Russian, Ukrainian, Turkish and UN employees are operating. Before the invasion, Russia and Ukraine together accounted for almost a third of global wheat exports. On Saturday, a foreign flag deliver arrived in Ukraine on Saturday for the primary time because the war started out, to load up with grain, Ukrainian Infrastructure Minister Alexander Kubrakov stated. Zelensky welcomed the resumption of exports even though he stated dangers remained. The danger of Russian provocations and terrorist acts remains.